Anything?
Nothing at all.
You tired? You want me to take the glasses?
No, I'm not tired.
I thought I heard something. The sound of a vehicle.
As usual, you're ridiculous.
You don't see anything?
I said nothing. How many times do I have to say it?
Well, I just wanted to be sure.
I'm sure. I'd stake my life on it.
That's what we're all doing. Isn't it, Sergeant?
The replacements arrived.
I thought I heard something.
Shut up and take the glasses. The colonel will want to see him immediately.
What does he look like?
You can see as well as I, can't you?
Yes. Exactly as well.
The Outpost stars in alphabetical order Neville Brand as the sergeant, Richard Conte as the captain, Pierre Delay as the lieutenant, Claude Rains as the colonel, Everett Sloan as the private.
Will he fit in?
I haven't seen him.
What about the dossier?
It's always hard to tell from the dossier.
Well, I hope he fits in. You remember the last one. He didn't fill in, and there was a devil of a row.
Must you always talk about the last one?
Well, it seems to me the interior could use a little more discretion in their choice of men for the outpost.
Only we who serve here understand the unique nature of our assignment. Let's have him in here.
Colonel will see the lieutenant.
The colonel will see you now, sir.
Thank you. I'm not hard of hearing.
Just doing my duty, sir.
You may stand at ease, Lieutenant. We do little saluting here. In fact, I sometimes think that we relax the formalities too much. But in view of our mission, I see little sense in maintaining a severe military discipline. This is my second in command.
Welcome, Lieutenant.
Thank you, sir.
We've been short on officers for too long. The interior has taken its time in sending a replacement.
I want you to know, sir, that I volunteered for this assignment.
Any special reason?
We don't have to go into that at the moment. After all, we're all volunteers here. The importance of the outpost makes it imperative that only those who wish to serve here do so.
I have been a combat officer, sir. Should any situation require an ex-combat officer, I welcome the chance to participate.
I appreciate your sentiments. However, we're more concerned here with observation than combat. Our mission is vital to the interior. The interior depends on us to negate any element of surprise in an enemy attack. You see, sir, we are the last outpost between the interior and the enemy. Any mass invasion must come through here. This area must be under strict and eternal observation. Any hint of disorder, any change on the horizon, and the interior is notified immediately. Our field of view, then, is the horizon. Our mission, detection of the enemy. We can go into the specifics of your duties at another time. I'm sure, Lieutenant, your trip was very tiring. Captain? Captain?
Yes, sir. The sergeant will show you to your quarters. We all live in the same barracks. It wouldn't be wise to get too friendly with the enlisted men. They're inclined to take liberties.
I've been an officer long enough to know that, sir.
Just how long?
7 years.
Sergeant?
Yes, sir.
Show the lieutenant to his quarters. And help him with his gear.
Yes, sir.
7 years in grade. And a combat man, too. Are there reasons? Reasons enough for him to come here?
Undoubtedly.
Probably in the dossier. At least a hint. I'd like to take a look.
There's no reason for that now. I'm sure there are duties that need your attention, Captain.
Always.
Yeah, well, I always liked officers who've seen combat. I had a lieutenant once. His name was Wilson. Greatest guy I ever met. I cried like a baby when he got his. I was a point up on this patrol way out ahead. They always made me point. One time I said to Wilson, let me be getaway man just once to see what it's like. He said, no. You're the best point in the whole Army. Well, I was up there when I heard this shot, and by the time I crawled back to the rest of the squad, Wilson was dead. I don't know, somehow he got his signals crossed and moved so far over to the flank he was a point all the time. Poor old Wilson. Loved that man like a brother. You know, when I got to him, he looked like he was asleep. Single piece iron in the back of the head. That's all he caught, but he was dead all right. Took me a long time to get over it, Lieutenant. Like losing my own brother.
Where is everybody?
Everybody?
The rest of the personnel.
Oh, I don't get you.
These rooms look like no one sleeps in them. I haven't seen anyone in any of the halls, any of the public rooms. Where is everybody?
Well, there's the four of us here, the colonel, the captain, the private who does the cooking, and me. Oh, I'm sorry. There are five. Excuse me, sir. 5 of us now, sir. I'll get your other bag.
Sergeant? Is this your idea of a barracks room joke?
No, sir.
There are only 5 of us out here?
Does that surprise you, sir?
I was told this was an important outpost.
Yes, sir. It is. As far as the safety of the interior is concerned, the most important. But we don't need a lot of men out here. All we have to do is watch the border. If and when the enemy moves, we give the signal and our units move up immediately. If the enemy moves and we don't give that signal, that's the end of the interior. Is there anything I can do for you, sir?
No. Nothing.
Well, you know, anything like coat hangers or anything like that.
I said I didn't need anything.
Well, no disrespect intended, sir, but we're all a bit edgy when we first get out here.
I'm not edgy. I just want to be left alone, that's all.
Yes, sir. Supper's in 2 hours, sir.
Damn you!
Yes, gentlemen, yes. And the general, he then said to me, I don't care about a man's mind or a man's heart. Colonel, I say the best soldier is the man with the best liver.
You had a point, eh, Lieutenant? More prune whip,
yes, put it on the table. Put it on the table.
Does the prune whip please the lieutenant? Where he went, I went. I followed that great man from post to post. And when he
eating well is one of our rare pleasures. Did the sergeant get you well settled in, Lieutenant?
Yes, sir. I suppose he bent your ear with a lot of talk? Anybody with rank on the shoulder. And the higher the rank, the closer the violence he moves.
Yes, Captain. And in addition,
shooting his platoon leader in the back of the head during a patrol.
it's one of those things that's difficult to prove.
Well, there must have been witnesses. He should have been court-martialed.
The sergeant was given a choice, a trial or volunteer for this outpost.
How can you stand to have him around?
Oh, he's been splendid. Not a touch of resentment.
Well, I'll be sure not to give him the back of my head.
A sense of humor. How do you like that, Colonel?
I am not amused. A man makes a mistake. Must it follow him for the rest of his life?
Sorry, sir. It was a bad joke.
There's not one of us here who hasn't made a mistake, and I include you in that, Lieutenant.
I never said I hadn't. However, mine does not include the taking of human life.
Oh, perhaps something more precious.
No, sir.
Now, that's what I like, a little fast conversation to liven up the evening.
Well, thank you, Captain. I am delighted that we are entertaining you. As a matter of fact, I believe that every man should be given a second chance. In my experience, it always paid off. Lieutenant, shall we take a tour around the walls? It's time to relieve the sergeant. And it might be a good opportunity for you to begin your indoctrination.
Yes, sir.
Lieutenant. Good night. Pleasant tour.
Thank you.
He's an eater. That's one good thing. That last lieutenant had an appetite like a bird.
The last lieutenant's palate was shriveled by alcohol.
But it didn't seem to affect his eyesight.
I hate troublemakers. I hate them worse than death itself.
How's everything going, Sergeant?
Fine, sir.
Anything new?
Rise and clear.
You may go down to dinner now.
Thank you, sir.
It's an exceptionally clear night. From here, and with these, we can see about 10 miles.
How far is the border exactly?
Oh, about 10 miles away. On a clear day, you can see that far with the naked eye.
Does the enemy patrol the border?
No, they have an outpost similar to this, about 10 miles back of the border. I imagine they stare at it just as we do, see what we see. An animal or two darting across the plains. Birds, jackrabbits, a wolf or two sidling along. And on occasion, a lynx driven from the forest by hunger scouts the flatland.
May I look?
Of course. We scan the horizon in an arc of 180 degrees. Slowly. Slowly. From left to right and back again. Slowly. Sweeping along the horizon. You know, the only danger we face is fatigue. Disappearing into nothingness day after day, week after week, year in, year out, conjures up imagined images or picturesque hallucinations. The horizon is flat and regular. Like the sea, different only in that it has no motion, no undulation to give it variety. I think you've been on those glasses long enough, Lieutenant. Long enough for the first time.
Sir? I think I see something.
Let me see.
Off to the right. Even movement. Break in the line. Rise and then shadows.
You're probably seeing the border markers. Usually they're not visible, but this is an unusually clear night.
Well, I don't know the terrain by the daylight, but there seems to be something moving out there. Something almost human on the horizon line.
No. Nothing. I'm afraid we'll have to break you in slowly, Lieutenant. You know, staring into nothingness isn't as simple as it sounds. Nothing can become something, something so real and concrete as only the mind can make it. You better turn in.
All right, sir. I'll begin by taking my regular turn on watch tomorrow.
Oh, there's no hurry about that.
I'd like to begin by pulling my weight, sir.
Well, we'll see how you come along. Good night.
Good night, sir.
Entertaining, isn't it?
Not bad. It's quiet. There are worse things than silence.
We had a lieutenant for a time who said it reminded him of death. But then how can a man be reminded of death?
Good night, Captain.
I'll walk you to your quarters.
Captain, I want you here with me. I won't have that. You understand?
I just wanted to talk to him, that's all.
Yes, that's what you said about the last one. This time it's going to be my way. He said shapes along the horizon. Even movement. Oh, but then no one's ever sure during the next 2 weeks.
One day he'll be absolutely sure.
We'll face that when we come to it. Yeah. Nights like this remind me of the Officers' Club on Morrison Bay. That was 1,000,000 miles away. You see anything?
Not a thing, Colonel. Clean and clear as a baby's conscience. Just as it is every night.
Yes. Just as it was. And just as it will be. Every night.
Reason for that up here.
For the service. Sit down, I'll be through in a minute. What's on your mind?
It was the same last night, Captain. Exactly the same.
You're a little jumpy, aren't you?
Captain, I am sure something is out there.
How many weeks is it now?
2.
14 days.
And 14 nights, and I have seen it every night. Exactly the same thing. Movement on the horizon. Shapes shadowed against the flat land.
You'll get over it. It took me almost a month to realize I was seeing nothing.
Are you telling me not to believe my own eyes?
I'm telling you my experience. You reported all this to the Colonel?
Every morning?
Well, what do you want from me?
Some information. About the Colonel. Is it possible he sees something out there, but chooses to ignore it?
You think he's a traitor?
I didn't say that.
You better not. He may be one of the biggest thieves in the Army, but he's an honest man. Until he gets within striking distance of cold, hard cash.
Do you have the facts to support a charge like that? Because it sounds like a lot of gossip to me, a lot of backbiting, stinking gossip.
Stand up. Keep your ears open and your mouth shut. And you'll hear a lot more than gossip. At his last 3 posts, the Colonel had been entrusted with the financial funds of the Officers' Club. Upon being transferred, it was discovered that these officers had been victimized to the extent of many thousands in reserve funds. A bit of spade work by the Inspector General had uncovered the fact that our courtly Colonel had managed to amass a tidy sum in a little over 20 years of extracurricular activity. Responsibility is difficult to prove. Account books were sketchy. Some of the key witnesses were either dead or retired. And since the Colonel refused to consider voluntary retirement, the Outpost was his only alternative. Now, you asked me about the Colonel. Whether you believe what I've just told you or not, you better remember one thing. The financial proclivities of the Colonel do not prevent him from being a competent, efficient, commanding officer. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir. I'm sorry, sir. Captain?
Yes.
What should I do about those movements on the horizon?
If you think you've seen something, call it to the attention of the Colonel. You will have done your duty. That's as much as one can do.
Thank you for your advice, Captain.
Who is it?
Your coffee, sir.
You can go in.
Thank you, Lieutenant. Good and hot, sir.
You better be.
How was the lieutenant today?
The same.
Doesn't take long to find out he's not much.
What?
I mean up here, sir. We had brighter men than that serving as messengers in the general's headquarters. Nowadays, they make an officer out of anything.
Shut up. I don't want to ever hear you say anything against an officer in this or any other unit. You understand?
Yes.
Now get me another cup of coffee. This one's not hot enough. And be quick about it. And when you get back, clean up this mess.
Yes.
It isn't that I don't respect your opinion, Captain. Do take a look for yourself.
I realize there's nothing out there now, sir. But my theory is they work only at night. Inching forward, planting stores a little farther every night. And then at dawn, they withdraw, leaving no trace.
And cover their stores with sand.
Yes. And even a road if they're building one.
Oh, your theory includes a road.
Yes. And one night there's going to be enough stores and enough road, and they're going to send a stream of men and equipment against the interior so quickly we won't even have time to give the alarm.
Doesn't it seem strange to you, a newcomer, that you're the only one who has seen these movements, these shadows and forms, this tableau of men and equipment, this busy landscape? We all use the same glasses.
All I know is I see something moving out there every night.
There's only one answer. A correct one and a logical one to that, sir. You're seeing things which are not there.
I refuse to accept that, sir. And I request permission to make a reconnaissance.
In my judgment, a reconnaissance is unnecessary.
Has a reconnaissance been made within the past 6 months?
Our mission is explicit. Observation, not patrol. We're not equipped for patrol.
I'd like to make one patrol, sir. I'm equipped. I've had combat experience. I'm afraid I'll have to insist, sir.
Oh, don't be afraid, Lieutenant. If you insist, you insist. And I will give you permission to make a reconnaissance.
Thank you, sir. I'd like to take along a man. I'll go alone if necessary, but I'd like someone along with me.
Well, I certainly couldn't go with you. And the captain, my executive officer, he cannot be spared, so you're left with the enlisted men. Take whomsoever suits you best among them.
Yes, sir.
One thing. Go when you will. But you make sure that this reconnaissance does not disturb the routine of the post.
Yes, sir.
Oh, and, Lieutenant, were you by any chance acquainted with the last lieutenant who was out here? It's a man about your age. Decent chap, really.
I didn't know him.
No? Well, as it turned out, neither did we.
Yes, sir.
Oh, no, Lieutenant. I'm not going on any patrol. Not me, not anymore. It's in my service record. Patrol duty not required. So there's no more patrols for me. Now, that's the end of it, sir.
You're a combat man.
Yeah? Well, that's all behind me. I did my share.
7 or 8 miles, Sergeant. No crawling. This isn't wartime.
Lieutenant, a .30 caliber bullet doesn't know the difference. Now, you got the wrong man. I'm sorry.
What kind of a coward are you?
I'm a live one. I'm going to stay that way.
I'm telling you, there's no danger.
Yes, sir, Lieutenant. You just keep up that confidence. Now, excuse me. Why don't you ask the private? He'll volunteer. Anything for you. It's been his motto for years, even dragged his wife in on it.
I'm not interested in the private's wife.
Well, you might be if you saw her. She's a beauty, I hear. Years younger than him. And hospitable. On every post, she's had half of the officers in for coffee at one time or another. There's always officers looking for a good cup of coffee in the afternoon, isn't there, sir? And as long as a private didn't care, as long as his motto was, we aim to please, well, you can't blame his wife for her hospitality, now can you? And I guess you can't blame the general either.
His general?
His idol. One night, after stoking the breakfast fires, the private comes home and finds the general enjoying his wife's coffee. I guess he figures if the private's that accommodating, no reason not to take advantage of it.
Shut up.
Can you imagine how much coffee she's making right now back in Interior?
I said shut up!
I'm just pointing out to you, Lieutenant, why you should ask the private. Any man who wants to please as much as the private does will do whatever you want.
Get out! Go on, get out!
Nothing personal, sir. I'm not going with you. Nobody I'd rather go on patrol with. But it's in my service record. No more patrol duty. Take it easy, Lieutenant.
Well, sir, I don't know what to say.
Please.
I'd like to help you out, Lieutenant, but, well, there's my regular watch, and I have to prepare the fire for the morning meal. I can't cook on a cold stove, you know. And the others do look forward to a hot meal for breakfast.
But this reconnaissance would be important. You'd be doing an important thing.
Oh, but setting a decent table is important, too, Lieutenant.
Yes, I know it is. And you've done that job admirably. But this patrol would be a new challenge.
Why do you want me?
Because I trust you. Because I think you'd be good on patrol.
Brave, you mean?
Very brave. And very honest. I need a brave, honest man.
Yes, well, I've tried to be those things.
This is your chance to prove it. Please.
All right.
Great. Light pack, canteen, carbine. We leave at dusk.
Lieutenant.
Yes?
Could I carry a pistol? Could I just take a pistol?
Sure. Take a pistol. You take anything you like. We leave at dusk.
Yes, sir.
My door is there to be knocked on, Captain.
Why didn't you deny his request? That would have been the end of it.
It's not that simple.
He requested permission, correct?
That is correct.
It was up to you to grant permission or deny permission, correct?
Correct.
You are the commanding officer of this outpost, correct?
Correct.
The decision was completely yours, correct?
Correct.
And you granted him permission, correct?
Yes, correct.
Being fully aware of the possible consequences of your act, you granted him permission, correct?
I will not be cross-examined.
Being fully aware of the possible consequences of your act...
My financial life, sir, is an open book. Those shortages existed before I took charge of the accounts. I resent the insinuation that I personally profited from the administration of these funds. Any evidence to the contrary is purely circumstantial.
You're a very weak man. Do you know that?
I know that.
I'll take care of you. I'll take care of all of us.
He's making for the top. He has the makings of a good soldier, that lieutenant.
He has the makings of a rotten traitor. A lousy, stinking, yellow traitor.
Yes. Yes. There's something to that.
In the name of all the saints. Look at this, will you?
I'm afraid. Please don't make me. No, please.
Come up here. What are you afraid of?
I don't know.
Then look. I looked. If I can, you can. You see them? It's not so bad, is it? What you see them isn't so bad at all. All right, now start taking your notes. I want this all done in black and white, so there'll be no question. What are you shaking for?
It's just that I've never seen the enemy before.
They put their pants on just like you and me, one leg at a time. So you stop shaking and start writing. Enemy, penetration, at coordinates C6481-L7982. Enemy well armed, in full force. Obvious intention invasion. At least 50 tremendous troop carriers. Mobile artillery. Tanks all centralized at a point 67 degrees north-northeast. Bulldozers, cement trucks, graders.
Not so fast. 67 degrees north-northeast?
Yes.
And all this was cleverly camouflaged?
Yes. It is frightening to see how smoothly they work.
Frightening?
Amazing is the word I use.
Yes. And that about concludes your report.
Except that from what I could see, invasion is imminent.
Thank you very much. In the best traditions of the service. Clear, concise, detailed, dismissed.
Dismissed?
You heard the Colonel.
I think I have the right to know if the interior will be informed.
In good time. We have to evaluate your information.
But there isn't time for evaluation.
We couldn't pass on evaluated information onto the interior. We'd be a laughingstock.
What makes you be evaluated? I saw what I saw, didn't I?
Frankly, Lieutenant, I doubt you saw anything at all out there.
Why would I manufacture a report like this?
Many reasons. Ambition, for one. 7 years in grade, isn't that right?
Captain, we're getting away from the
For
subject.
once, Colonel, let me continue. 7 years in grade, and now at the Outpost. An apparent dead end to ambition, unless, of course, you make a name for yourself. By seeing something no one else has seen. By climbing over the backs of those who've worked hard for years at doing their jobs. I've seen it before, Lieutenant. This is not the first time. You smell, Lieutenant. You smell of secrecy, deception, and ambition. And that smell sickens me.
Is the private ambitious, sir? He saw what I saw. He'll verify my report.
The word of an enlisted man is hardly corroboration.
It might lend credence. Suppose you inform the private that we'd like to see him, have him report in the mess. There's no reason we can't discuss this like civilized people over a cup of coffee.
I am not the messenger. I am a captain.
No, I'm a colonel. Inform the private. I'm sorry you were subjected to that, Lieutenant. You know, he's usually quite under control. But I suppose a man doesn't go through what he has without its leaving its mark.
I wasn't aware that the captain was a combat officer.
Combat? No. Training. He's one of the finest training officers in the service. Then one day he lost 15 enlisted men in an accident, drowning. He'd ordered a whole platoon through a quagmire. Of course, there was an inquiry. Some of the survivors testified against him. At a subsequent time, some of these men were found badly beaten, bones broken, faces shattered, but they all refused to name their assailant. But in the interior, the captain was a marked man. No more promotions, constant transfers, general ostracism.
I hope you realize, sir, how unfit the captain is to evaluate my report.
Unfit? On the contrary, he's much better equipped than I am. You see, I would like to help you. He is prompted by no such humanitarian considerations. Your dossier. Have you seen it? Do you know what's in it?
No, sir.
You know, in evaluating information, a man's background fills in the empty spaces. I'm sorry, Lieutenant. I'm sorry. Here we go.
Well, sir, all I did was to write down what the lieutenant told me. troop carriers and bulldozers and a wide road. But when I looked, sir, I saw nothing, just the empty plain.
You lying little coward. Are you sure you saw nothing, Private?
Nothing, sir, just the empty plain.
You saw everything I saw.
That's the whole point.
You told me you saw it.
Well, I was afraid. He seemed out of his mind.
You craven coward. You cuckolded jellyfish. Why don't you be a man once in your life?
Sir, I asked for protection.
Lieutenant, don't you dare threaten this man again. Private?
Do not attempt to interrogate any of the royal household.
Minnie?
Set your watch.
Yes, sir. Thank you. No, sir, that I don't take the responsibility lightly, sir.
You were so sure of corroboration.
I was mistaken, but I can't be mistaken about what I saw, can I?
Are you asking me a question, Lieutenant?
Colonel, we're wasting time. There is only one way to handle this.
Oh, Sergeant. Sergeant, come in. This concerns you, too. Our lieutenant here, he reports observing a strong enemy force and a road being built towards the outpost.
I suppose you want me to take a reconnaissance with him tonight?
And get a bullet in my head like the lieutenant before me?
Colonel, you promised me this would never happen again.
It won't, Sergeant. It won't. Now, I'm afraid you might be getting the wrong impression from this discussion, Lieutenant. We're really your friends here in the outpost. Perhaps the best friend you ever had. We want most of all to help you.
And tell me, how could I be wrong?
How could you be wrong? We're all experts on that subject here, Lieutenant. Are you willing to listen?
Yes?
Good. Now, suppose we raise the alarm in the interior. Suppose we report to them that you think you saw the enemy. What will be the result?
Action would be taken to protect the interior.
Now, and what will happen to the outpost?
We'd be pulled back. They wouldn't leave us out here to die.
Oh, of course not. The interior is much too humane for that. And then what?
We'd be reassigned.
To where? To what kind of unit?
That would be up to the interior.
Precisely. Now you, Lieutenant, would undoubtedly be assigned to a combat unit.
Probably. I don't know.
But you're a combat officer, according to your dossier.
I led troops in combat. Yes, sir.
Why not a combat unit, then?
There are reasons.
But those reasons, Lieutenant, let us protect you from those reasons.
They exist. It's too late for that now.
Not at all. Not when you're among friends. Not when you're at the outpost. The outpost protects you, Lieutenant.
But the enemy is out there, sir. I know what I've done. There's no protection from that.
Nothing is that terrible. We all understand a moment's weakness, don't we, Captain?
It's what happened to all of us. Right, Sergeant?
A split second. At the very most, sir.
In my case, I hardly remember what happened. It's as if it happened to someone else.
Yes, that's it exactly. As if it happened to somebody else. After all, I've been in combat for 3 straight months.
Under such conditions, anything is excusable.
No, they couldn't understand that. Not to them. It's damned easy to sit in the safety of the interior and judge actions taken in the heat of battle.
My feelings exactly.
I didn't have to spend much time with you, my friend, to know that you're a wrong man. Believe me, my heart goes out to you. No matter what decision you may come to today.
Sir, I saw them. I went out there last night to see the enemy face to face. I had to. There only been someone back there that I could have talked to.
They're too busy in the interior. It's all black and white back there.
See, if it had been something simple like running away or surrendering unnecessarily or crying, I might have been able to talk to somebody about it.
But to you, it was infinitely more shameful.
To me, yes. It's the humorous aspects that make it so shameful.
You don't have to go into details.
I don't remember the details.
It's just as well.
You know them, then?
Just the bare outlines.
We fought our hearts out for 3 straight months. Nobody can deny that. They threw everything in the book at us. There are only 6 of us still left alive out of the whole platoon. And one morning they rushed the house. And all I could see were waves of men coming across the meadow, so I rushed up to the attic to find a decent firing point. The attic was filled with our dead. So I went down to the basement. There in the... I didn't plan it. It was just there.
In the basement. That's where it happened.
And then our reinforcements came up, and they beat off the enemy. And then they entered the house.
If you'd rather not go on.
I don't even know where I found it. It must have belonged to the laundress. A monstrously fat woman killed the first day. She was hanging on a peg. I remember seeing it the first day. A soiled print thing with huge armholes. I don't remember putting it on. I swear to you, I don't remember putting on that dress. That's the way they found me in the cellar.
Yes.
Wearing this dress, this soiled print dress, and saying they won't kill a woman. They won't kill an old washerwoman. I swear to you, sir, I don't remember putting on that dress.
You had been pushed pretty hard, Lieutenant.
Who knows what any of us might have done, sir. Something worse, even.
Is there anything worse? Anything worse than being a coward?
No. We have a habit of exaggerating the enormity of our own particular sin. Now, Lieutenant, in spite of what you've told me, or perhaps because of it, we would like you to stay here at the outpost with us. However, if you are quite positive about what you saw out there last night, if you are still completely certain that you saw the enemy, then I will provide you with transportation for the interior immediately.
Colonel.
Immediately. And you will report your observations to the interior intelligence.
And that would be the end of the outpost?
Once you've seen the enemy, there's no more outpost.
I have to report what I saw, don't I?
Yes. If you saw it, you have to report it.
Thank you, sir. I think I should stand one more watch until tomorrow. I think I should pull my weight at least one more day.
See, there's transportation for Lieutenant first thing tomorrow morning.
Yes, sir.
If you'll excuse me, sir, I think I should pack my gear.
It was too late to use all that material in the dossier. Should have used it before, when he first got here.
What material from the dossier?
About him putting on a woman's dress. About him turning yellow in action.
My dear Captain, there's not a word about any of this in the dossier. Just places, dates of service.
I've got to hand it to you. You sure knew your man.
Knew him, Captain? I simply knew us. Anything?
Nothing at all. The horizon is clear and flat and silent.
Private. Private.
Yes, sir.
Go down and make some hot coffee. We're going to have a little celebration here tonight. The unit is finally complete.
Sir?
What? What are you waiting for?
Nothing, sir. I just thought I heard...
Heard what?
Nothing, sir.
The wind. That's what you heard. You think even a fool like you would know the sound of the wind.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
At times, Lieutenant, the wind, due to certain atmospheric conditions, sounds like the grinding of huge chains and the tolling of a giant bell. But we've all gotten used to it. I think you in time will too.
Yes, sir. 180 degree sweep, sir?
180 degree sweep.
Corbett. Tomorrow night, join in the romance and adventure of 4 young men living in a small college town. Join us tomorrow night at 7:30 for It's a Man's World, 6:30 Central Time, here on NBC.